Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Beyond Next, episode 3. Welcome back, everyone. We will be discussing in today's podcast why a business plan is important. Why it's important. But here's the spinoff to that. Why is it important in an economic downturn? More specifically, right? We want to be able to diagnose, provide some insight, align, again, not only the importance of a business plan, because there's always going to be ebbs and flows in the economy, in the environment, in the community, right? Whether it's local or globally, technology wise, right? But specifically, how and why to navigate these areas of change, these areas of challenges, these areas that are absolute to how business works through ebbs and flows, ups and downs, right? And so again, today we have our co-speakers on here. We have Mr. Leonard Brooks, we have Mr. Marcus Fryer, and we have Mr. James Hayward, and as well as myself, Corey Franklin. So happy 424.
So it's like if you had a good 420, you just now coming to.
Right. So,
Like, oh,
yeah, you
up?
just kind of, yeah, absolutely, right. And hopefully, I mean, it was on a specific day that people shouldn't be really, they should be kind of being blessed, but okay, it's all good. Now, just to kind of segment into it, right? Why does the business plan matter, right? So we have calm days, we got sunny days, we have stormy days, right? And so what is the strategy, whether it's a great day, a sunny day, or a stormy day, right? Like why does this matter? So kind of anybody kind of touch on why it matters.
I see.
So I say from my perspective, I love for my clients to have a business plan because first it gets us organized as to the three major parts of business. First is marketing. So you got to find the client, right? Second is operations. How are you going to service the client? Three is finance, the back end. All three of us operate in the back end. And we tend to preach to our clients, we need y'all to do 1 and 2. If you all don't do 1 and 2, we don't have anything to count. So, but it gives you that structure of my marketing. How do I do my marketing? And scorecard, Corey, you got to keep a scorecard on what marketing worked, what didn't work. How did I find my top 10 clients? Go do that again. Operations, how do I operate? How can I be more efficient? You've got that process written down, and then finally on the back end, your finance. So it serves as almost like your Bible. You need to kind of update it every year. So that's my perspective on where we start, why it provides the foundation of your business and how you operate in those three areas.
And if you're in a market that is in a downturn, every day you're seeing negative numbers. People are giving you bleak outlooks about recession coming and prices going up. To me, if you've got a business plan, of course that's supposed to be your roadmap. And in your business plan is where you have your financials, where you look at, okay, this is the revenue that I brought in, projected to bring in. This is my budget. Everything is in that business plan. So then you go back, particularly when market downturn means that there are going to be some resources that you have had that may not be available. So in your business plan, of course, again, you go back, you look at those numbers, and then you should also in your business plan, a lot of people should and do, hopefully they do, is identify your resources. Like, hey, these are my top 3, partners, or these are my top 3 lenders, or these are the top 3 people I deal with when it comes to either getting revenue or getting working capital, so you can go back to the business plan and say, okay, I haven't dealt with this person in a while. The market is my suppliers, depending on the type of business, my suppliers now are either going to dry up, or the cost these goods and services are really going to start to skyrocket. I need to go back to my business plan, and my resources that I've got listed in there kind of go back to them and say, hey, I may need to lean on you for the next quarter or 2 quarters or a month, because here's what's happening with some of my inventory suppliers or even my clients in regards to getting them in and being able to service them. Like Mark said, you have to find the clients, and then your second part of that plan is how do you service them. Well, you can't really service them fully and give them that attention they need if you're worrying about your own bottom line, for lack of a better term.
Okay. Well, for me, just like the esteemed gentleman just said, I mean, it's a big part. It goes back to the roadmap, and I think from the accounting standpoint, what it allows us to do, firm or the profession, is to start making those making changes. Start getting in there and start talking about marrying. We talk a lot about marrying the numbers to the operation. In our practice, that's one thing we're trying to get more into. So to take the two things, the Marcus and Brooks, that's his street name. Either he knows his, but to take what they're saying and say, okay, we fall in the implementation of that. So, I mean, we've become a lot of small businesses have no marketing budget. Like, they don't have a relationship between their revenue and marketing. So they kind of like, they still out here like they printing flyers and, hope somebody comes in. So they're not reinvesting back into it, which may have them in trouble right now anyway, because they did not continue to protect or increase their revenue stream when times were good.
Right.
So now, okay, things are a little bit not good. Let's look at your plan. What is your plan? Like, what are we trying to do? One thing that I've actually participated in with a couple of clients, or I don't conversations. I talk about this stuff all the time. I don't, whatever it is, just establishing those marks. Who was I talking to? I can't remember who I was speaking with. And it was like, hey, we talk about profit first a lot, but I laid out to somebody. I said, what do you need to live off? What do you expect to take out of this? You know what I'm saying? Out this business. So, and this is as much of a business plan as anything. I tell people business plan is how you plan to make money. This is as simple as that. And so if we get to the bottom line and say, okay, I need 100K a year, and we reverse engineer that, and then we get back to, okay, what does it take for you to generate 100K or generate enough to cover your expenses and make 100K? If we have that type of planning in the beginning, when things turn bad, we could say, can you live with 80K?
Right.
Can you live with 50K or more? So, hey, your personal finance can be worked on in that. So, I think one of the things with business plans, people get spooked out because everyone thinks of the MBA business plan that you do just for the bank. And you don't do a business plan for the bank. You do a business plan for you and your advisors, like us here. You do a plan so that we have a place to go back home to. We got a home base. It touches everything. Financial, finance issues, loans, taxes, all these things. I know, and you guys might experience it. People come in on a whim. I want to do insert planning. Okay. Yeah, I want to do. Or how about this one? I'm starting to make some more money now, so I I, I want to start doing planning, and I know because I heard somebody say it, and one of my first things is like, I don't know what you need to live off of. Like I don't I'm not all up in you. I don't know how much you spend on underwear and all that. I don't, and I don't want to. I leave that for like Marcus and you two. Y'all do that stuff, y'all, like that, but is about having a plan, and most of us we work with pass-through entities, so the money's going to them, so they're the shareholders. So business planning is very important, but I think just to stick on task when it's going bad, that's when you need to plan the most, because that's when you can get back and you get it back in the road, turn it back in there. So I yield.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Anytime.
Right. Great points, everyone, on business plan. Why business plan is important. It's really a high level 30,000 foot view as well, right? So what I've seen them run into a lot is they may have a plan. Business owners may have an idea. They may not have it fully written out, as you stated. They may have an idea. They think it's the plan, and they think that plan is the strategy and the tactics, right? But they fail to I guess, to comprehend, understand. Maybe someone didn't show them or utilize it. But explain to me, give your version of why this particular, when I say it, makes sense, right? Because it's used in a way to I guess to delineate down or to make more of a focal point in a specific area or areas of the business that now we can measure and manage what the inputs are versus what the outputs are to meet the outcomes, right? And that's your metrics, your KPIs, right? So each section of your business. So as marketing said, for marketing, those have KPIs, your sales, KPIs, your operations, KPIs, staffing and employees, KPIs, right? So all of these are different areas of business plan that will help you to focus in on your highs, your mids, and even in your lows, so you can track what's happening. So share your thoughts on how important KPIs or metrics are. Do they help you as a professional when the client has some sort of idea of what those metrics are? And then how does it take them beyond, the next level?
Well, I'll start. We're going in reverse order or whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah.
So like that's like KPIs are becoming more important. So in accounting, it's becoming the thing now. We're advisors and all this other stuff or whatever. We're going here. But the way I look at KPIs, it does a couple of things. It marries the financial data to the operation, what I said earlier. So now you can give KPIs to even your employees without revealing all of your info, your dirt. Like, so you can say, look, we need to do 50 sales a day, like in a restaurant thing. We need to do 50 orders a day without telling them, I mean, if you could do math, you could kind of figure it out. But some people, they don't feel comfortable sharing with employees. They just don't. They don't want to tell people stuff. That's one way that KPIs work for me, because now you can measure. Because financial statements sometimes are misleading.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell the whole story of what's happening with the business. I mean, that's not the subject of this thing. We can all go into that it can be misleading. So it doesn't necessarily tell you, because revenue covers incompetence all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it just does. You making revenue, but you could have it could be on thin ice and is incompetent. So that's that. But the other way KPIs I think would help in the scenario you laid out is that now they have an idea, but we can look at like size entities, because there's databases out there that tell you like best practice, your gross profit margin for there's people that have correlated this data, and then you can take somebody and say, hey, for a company of your size and your industry, the net profit range is 15-20%. Yours is 3%. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? So now we have something else. We can have a further discussion off of that. So that's why I think the KPIs are very important.
Anyone next?
So I'm not, gosh, I guess I'll ease into this one. I'm not as versed with the KPIs and the performance indicators. What I see,
well, give it from your perspective.
From my perspective, what I see is my little small knowledge of this KPI subject is the fact that
because you measure your own stuff, right?
Yeah. If they're looking at the numbers, and like James just made a good point, said they don't like to share that information with the employees. But one of the things that I was thinking about when we came up with this topic and talking about business plan in a down market is the fact that one of the reasons among several is to have a good business plan when the market's doing a downturn is employee retention. In the fact that you can show, okay, you see, okay, well, the sales are going down and, we're not as profitable as we were the last three quarters, but then you could present to your employees, say, look, this is our business plan. So here is where I want you guys to look at this business and being a part of it and growing from a long-term standpoint. This is just a short-term situation that we're in now. So without having to give them, all of the KPI, they can say, hey, these are some of the numbers. This is how we've worked to achieve these numbers, and this is how we're projecting out. Because in a market that's not good, and again, you're not getting the sales, you're not getting the suppliers. The last thing that you want happen is people start jumping ship because they feel, well, this business owner or these business people, like you said, the revenue hides a lot of things. James just said that. And now that we're not getting the revenue, they're saying, well, they really don't know how to sell this shit. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These life jackets might not be no good.
Yep.
These waters is getting choppy. So,
yeah.
So
we out.
But yeah, so exactly. So
Yeah.
again, going back to kind of intertwining everything into that is the fact that, showing or having the KPI and knowing it and integrating it in business, but you got to go back to the employees and get them to see the long-term projection and growth and what you want to do in the business and why they should stick around. Because we're gonna make it through this. Here's why we're gonna make it through this. Because in the past we've done this and we've done our homework and we see this. We did our several projections, but stick with us. Stay with us in the long term, and we'll get you there. Fry's got Fry. I see it coming, Fry. The wheels are turning.
His wheels are turning. He on mute. You on mute though. So he really cooking. He cooking. He's muted out.
All right. A lot of times too, we're able to use it as a managerial tool and as a performance metric. So, and there, like I said, there are certain ways you can hide those numbers, like James said, because you don't want to give your books to the team. So a good example is I'll give you all two. So one, especially in our dental space, as James said, you've got the industry metrics, so you know what a PED office should do versus a general office versus an ortho office. So with one client, we're giving them just the things that they can control, right? Because there's no point in giving them KPIs that they can't control. Mm-hmm. So what they can control are the supply cost, the labor cost. Those are the two big ones we give them. And so we've made a performance matter that goes, okay, your target is 4% supply cost of goods. If you get it to 3, we're going to bonus you all out of that 3. Because what happens is they just saved you 1%, so you got money to give to them. Didn't hurt your percentages at all.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Now, of course, the other thing it leads to is, like James said, the financial statement won't give you the answers, but it will lead you to the questions. So when that labor cost is 62% and it's supposed to be 57, something's wrong. Questions. Why are we at 72? Are we scheduling wrong? Or do we have a gap in our schedule? Are we not sending people home at the appropriate time? What's going on? It leads to that. Another good one, along with KPIs or trend analysis, especially with clients who are in industries that are impacted daily. And we see this, we know this. So that company that's delivering the eggs to Food Line, when gas goes up, that's why the eggs go up. Because he didn't eat that. He saw that trend line going, my profit margin, gas, they're getting too close together. I got to change. But if he's not monitoring that, if he doesn't have the proper data, he doesn't know to make that change. His business plan didn't focus on that KPI and identify it, he's going to train wreck.
Absolutely.
So those are two things that, and our clients are good at what they do.
Right.
They good at pulling teeth. They good at providing social services. They good at driving that truck down I-85. But the rest of this stuff, they don't get it. Right. And so they need that advisor to come in to tell them, to coach them. If nothing else, they know, oh snap, it cost me $60 to fill up this week, and it was $70, and it was $50 last week. I better call. At least they know I better pick up the phone and call James, Corey, or Brooks, because something's going on. I don't know what to do.
Right.
Well, I got a follow up. I know esteem.
I'm sorry. I yield.
You yield. Yeah. No. Actually, you created a good question. I'm saying that. What do you think? And that's for we could start with Brother Core, but I mean, and actually I will put it to Core first because of your perspective from it. What is the wall? What is, or what methods can we use to encourage that thinking? And I know besides us doing this, but what is it that's like, I think people are somewhat afraid of even thinking like that. Like they just stay away. So I was just, when Marcus said it, it's like, like, how do we're here ready, I mean, we much rather get those calls than I need a copy of XYZ or I got to fill out my FAFSA or something like that. Where's the disconnect between people that call themselves business owners and this non-sexy part of doing business? So,
So I think the disconnect comes from a couple of different places. Number one, people don't like to read. People don't like to write. Most importantly, I think we've been programmed and trained not to trust that inner voice. Right? Because we have plenty of compasses out there. We have plenty of roadmaps that are out there. We have plenty of resources and people. And that inner voice, if you use those as your guides or your templates, that inner voice should lock in. But so we as, business owners, professionals, etc., have to attack that part of the nervous system because it's only when danger appears is when people do something. Right? So imagine having no GPS on your phone, no GPS in your car. Imagine driving down the road and you lose control of your steering wheel. It's the same thing, right? So it's highlighting the danger zones for them, highlighting the everyone is taught to look for a red flag. Well, how about pay attention to the green flag? Right. Yeah. And so, it's a challenging thing. We've all experienced it. That's why we're sitting here talking about it, not just with clients, but for our own selves. And, the more we shine the light, because the work is done in the shadow, really, behind the scenes, right? the more we shine the light, or the light shines on those dark areas, those are the places that we end up focusing on, which creates a better impact or outcome that we want to see, right? And so to my thing with most people, for example, I had a recent training with a business owner, and they're running down some of the things that they checked off their list and executed in terms of gaining something. So gaining a resource, a human resource, or collateral resource, or whatever it was, they ended up getting that, right? So okay, good, they checked it off their list. So then my next question was, okay, how do you manage it? And the response was, I don't know what you mean. Well, how do you manage it? How do you track it? How do you know if it's working? Are you paid for this resource? How do you know what your cost is based off of what you paid for this? And I took them through a whole exercise of documenting, the measurables, the KPIs, if you will. And the light turned on, like, wait a minute. Now, the next question that was asked after going through that exercise, well, I see how this benefits me, but why would I want to use this on a regular basis? So now my light goes off. I'm like, okay, we only touching the surface. The benefits would be measuring, managing, holding accountable, because as a business owner, you never give away the responsibility. You're only delegating the responsibility. So having your part of your plan and the KPIs are part of your business plan in place, you'll now provide the oversight needed, because you got to eventually go back and continuously work on the business plan. You got to go sit with your professionals. You got to go sit with your tax planners and your CPAs and all of the above, your certified financial planners, etc., and talk out these specific things. But if you don't have these specific things to know what you're trying to do, they can't tell you what to do. They can suggest to you what to do, right? So there's no clear cut, to answer your question. There's no clear cut road to get people to buy in to continuous self-improvement. I think it's in the moments where the opportunities are created that us as professionals have to listen for or identify based off of their habits, and we attack it at that particular moment, so it can cause some sort of disruption. May not change it right then and there, but it'll cause a disruption that they can see, right? And then we can SOS them, show, observe, and shape throughout every single. Now that becomes our metric for them. Plan, strategy, tactics, because those are all three things, and everybody thinks a strategy is a plan and a strategy is a tactic, and it's not. Those are three different things. So how do we use those as our metrics for our clients to help us manage them, measure them, manage them, and help move the needle? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. And it's just, it seems like a lot of business owners and clients don't give themselves enough credit, right? So I'm reading this book called Atomic Habits, right? And the guy,
good book.
Yeah, it is really good. I just started, but it's good. But he gave a good example of something I never really thought about it. And he was like, it's people develop internal habits, like they'll say, well, I'm not good at that. So every time you say, I'm not good at that, I'm not good at that, you start to ingrain
yeah
in your being, in your thoughts, to say I'm not good at that. And how of all of us that are here talking now, how many of us have had a client to come in and say, and you tell them what and say, well, that's just not my thing. I'm not good at that. How many years have you been telling yourself that? Well, you probably, because you just haven't really kind of stuck to it and done it. And if you've been doing it and sticking to it, you find out, it's not as difficult as you think it is. And, just like Corey just said, it's a part of the process that you are going to have to use and do to be successful, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And then, James said something earlier about the business plan and kind of pivoting back to that about how everybody wants that NBA business plan. And your business plan doesn't have to be that long. But what going back to our original topic and talking about the market and, what do you do? Why is it important to have it during the market downturn? Is because if you've got a business plan that is easily adaptable, means that if you've got a business plan, and let's say your business plan is 5 pages, right? On page 3 is your financials, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through the whole process. You just go back and say, okay, let me go back to page 3 and look and relook at these numbers. So that's nothing has to be adaptable, but just good points, man. They just, we wonder why, and there's so many different metrics of why they don't want to, like James said, get into the not so glamorous part of the business, but it's a necessity, man. You got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I get it. What you saying? I mean, because one of the things, it's almost like, yes, the Atomic Habit thing is 100% right. But what I challenge people, and I'm going to start challenging. Corey's heard this before, but I start challenging. It's like you want to call yourself a CEO or president, leader, founder, all that, but they don't want to get better at doing it.
Right.
So if you're, so I equate it like this. That's like, playing a sport and no one knows how to score. You don't know how it's scored. You just playing.
Right.
I'm good at the sport. So what if somebody's good, running back, able to run the ball, and then they run 50 yards one way and say, you know what? I think I'm just going to turn around and run the other way. Right. Like I'm running, what I'm saying? Like I don't even know the purpose is me to get over the goal line. And I think that's what we have a lot of business people that we all, profit, but they don't really understand. Right. Like, okay, getting to a profit that leads to, you money in your bank, right, money in your pocket, the investing part, you invest that money so that it's there. Like they don't know how the game is scored. So they just out here playing and they don't want to know because I've heard that plenty of times. I'm no good with numbers. Right. We got computers. You don't have to be good with numbers. Once you have to be good with numbers, you use a computer. I the financial stuff. I don't. But and these people, they're making $750 $1 million. You're like, what, huh? And so they come in. So it's I guess we just keep grinding. I don't know. Marcus might be the nicer because he got big clients like that. He got big clients for this. He got a. Excuse me. I mean, I said $1 million. He might have 10 million. Like 10 million. That's he played golf, man. He got the golf course. Them cats be on the golf course, man.
Watch out for the quiet ones.
Yeah. Right. He got the real deal ones over there. So
that'll get you in trouble real quick if 100% of your clients are 2 people.
Real quick.
You right about that.
Real quick.
Yeah, it's
look at that guy. I don't know if you saw that guy who was there's a guy in North Carolina. They were interviewing him about the government contracts. And he was saying because his government contract got canceled, that was 2/3 of his business.
Wow. He lights out. Yeah.
And so something you could rely on, you can't rely on that anymore.
Right.
Probably he went into that like, government contract good. But now government contracts are not good.
Right.
So that changed, and so it's the same premise, you got 100 clients and you lose 1. Okay, you got 2 clients and you lose 1.
So you need a plan.
Hey.
You need a plan.
But you know what, too? It's. I know someone that lost a contract that was 50% of their income. But we, as a community, I think we focus way too much on government contracts.
Well.
What do you think? I know you got something to say. Hold on.
I have. I'm not. I'm.
I just there's focus on them. Definitely take the opportunity to fill out for government grants. Obviously, it's hurry up and wait money right there, right?
Right.
But there's an opportunity to go private or public for regular people that need your services,
I'm gonna wait my turn.
right? And so I think this is, again, with this economic swing that we have going on, this is a time for everyone to revisit their business plan outside of their brain on piece of paper or digital, outside of going after government contracts. What does it look like to just go after regular contracts, regular people, regular marketing campaign? What does that look like?
But that's like having that business plan in there. You got to figure out your organic growth, man.
Correct.
You got to. I mean, we talk about that here in office. Organic growth, man. How are we doing? What's our organic growth?
Correct.
Because and this is probably going to be another podcast. But sometimes, and this is off the subject here, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Sometimes you gotta fire clients, man.
Ooh, oh man, hey, yeah,
you gotta fire clients. And if you don't have nothing in your business plan that says I'm gonna, creating a certain percent of organic growth, it's gonna hurt you, because sometimes enough is enough. Hey, oh man, you thank you, yeah, you in the top 10, but good gosh, there's no peace of mind. I can't.
You FED up, fed
right.
up.
Yes, sir. But again, like I said, that's another podcast.
Yeah, I'll be ready for that one. That's I won't even take my comments on that one, but what I'll say is the goal where we are with the government contracting and marrying it with what we're talking about. What I find, my personal feeling is that people get too comfortable with just the contracts. So, because big companies get government contracts too, and what they do is they leverage them for private money, because it's like you have this contract, it kind of gives you a foundation. If you have a big contract, nothing is guaranteed anymore. But now, am I going to take? I'm making profits off that. So instead of going to buy a Ferrari or something, or like some condos in South Florida or something, things that I might have seen before. And how about I take some of that and put it to business development? Like take that to put it into some business development, either to look at other municipalities or other places. So, and but to create organic, like if governments are going to be your customer, organically grow. I see too many people get a single contract, and it's essentially a job, and they keep it. They also don't develop any political relationships whatsoever. Like, if you're going to be dealing with the government and you don't know any politicians, that's a risk.
Yeah.
Because, we can say whatever we want. It's not about the politics. It's the fact that when something gets thick, you want somebody inside that can say something on your behalf, so you keep yours when everybody else might be losing theirs. So there's an apparatus that I see too many people that it's like they having a party. I'll say it. They have a Coke party. I mean, they get the money and they like, we've seen it, man. Y'all got people that got government contract. They got all types of stuff, man. You like, like they spending them, and you like, because they get enamored that they doing 1.4, 2.8, 3.6, and they just enamored with it. So they're like, I'm rich now, so now I'm gonna go get this, instead of being like protecting the revenue stream. And why? Because they don't have a business plan. They don't say that, hey, we're doing these contracts. We want to go to these other ones. They usually deal with, the purchase officer they dealing with. If that person there, but if that person gets let go or somebody else comes in and they're going to put their person on, you haven't protected the revenue stream. So because you have no plan, you don't, you're not going in, you're politicking with one person. But, so I think there's, we get lost in what we're talking about. Just because you're doing government contracting doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a business plan, because tough times come even when the government is your only or main client, the one department. So you still have to do it. It's very disappointing to me, but that was the nice way of me saying what I usually say.
Well, all of us have, those clients that are in social services to get Medicaid money for
Yes,
social
sir.
services. And we also know that they have a process that they're made to go through, which is really helpful, that accreditation process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, if you go take that accreditation process a step further, not only do they have to have a business plan, they have to have a strategic plan.
Right.
Most importantly, though, a risk management plan. And it's keenly important for them because not only do they not control the contract, they don't control what they charge.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
So you guys remember years ago when they were getting $96 an hour, and then it went abruptly down to $66 an hour, and then it went down again. And then, oh, by the way, now you got to have a doctor, which made their salary costs go up.
Mm-hmm.
That you gotta understand those things. Hey, what if they squeeze you on the units that you can charge? You go from 100 units a quarter to 90 units a quarter.
Yes.
We all right. So, like I said, you beyond the business plan, I think the next thing is risk management. How do you manage risk, and especially in those scenarios where you don't control hardly anything?
Yeah.
You can't, like I said, we got, clients and the staff is like, we need a raise. Well, the government hasn't raised my reimbursement rate.
Mm-hmm.
Call your congressman. That's all I can tell you to do. Call your congressman.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is when they see the owner, oh, you got another new car.
Right.
Oh, you said that you're sending your other child to private school too. Oh,
right.
Okay, yeah. So that's that's another podcast too. So.
Right.
True indeed. Well, I mean, this is really good, guys. I think we got a couple of other topics to talk about outside of this. Risk management probably should be the next one that we talk about, because truthfully, that's what we're looking at anyway. Outside of just having all the other fluff on top, right? We're looking at the management of risk, and, the habits of people, right? So, if anyone heard, jump on the Atomic Habits, check it out, read it. Profit First is a good book. E-Myth for all of our business owners, educate so you can move forward, right? And based on what you heard on today's episode, right? If you were listening and you were wondering what should I include in my plan, right? So here's some ideas, some thoughts, right? Your core business model, right? What do you sell? Who do you sell it to? And how do you sell it? Right? A cash flow plan. We all need cash. So income, expenses, right? What is your break even? If you don't know, get with us or a professional so they can walk you through what that looks like, right? But make it very simple, make it very visual, and make it very clear, right? Understand customer retention. What is the strategy in keeping a customer? Who are your best customers? What is who is your actual identifiable target customer? Personality, demographic, psychographics, right? Needs, wants, these types of things, and how will you keep them, right? Marketing. We talked about marketing in the beginning, and if you're not marketing, if you don't have, you're not getting clients, if you're not throwing the fishing rod out into the water to catch some fish, you won't get any fish to eat for dinner, right? So, focus on what's low cost but can be effective. Marketing doesn't have to be thousands of dollars, right? You don't have to repeat or reinvent the wheel, as they say. Look at some of the big corporations, and I try to identify their strategies and how they're using it, right? So low cost, high impact results, right? Think community, not just ads. Think community, because they do say bad news travel fast, which is true. But if someone in a person's network sees that person doing well, they're gonna say, "Well, how are you doing that?" And they're gonna say, "Oh, Corey Brooks, Marcus, or James." Right. And so, or you as the business owner, for your perspective, as you're watching this information be delineated to you, right? And then contingency. So we talked about risk management, but contingency, what does that mean? Have a contingency plan, right? So if your sales drop by X amount of percent, 15, 20, 30%, right? What if one of your key vendors disappears, especially in this economic disruption we have going on? The vendor you all been using, great price, great product, great delivery time, now they get zapped away. What do you do then, right? So these are some of the things to include as you are writing out your business plan, right? And remember, you can reach us, and I'll give everyone an opportunity to throw their handles and their .coms up as well. So we're at biztherapycoaching.com, haywardcpa.com, Brooks,
www.brooksfinancialnc.com,
and Marcus.
FryarFinancial.com, FRYAR Financial.com.
Beautiful. And we'll put links to everything down below for folks to reach out.
Show notes. Yeah.
Schedule those consultations.
You might get some referrals or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's always
Happy Meal or something. If they click on the link, you can get us a Happy Meal.
Gift card. Get a gift card.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, my $5 gift card.
Yeah.
Can't buy nothing for $5, right? You can't buy coffee for $5 no more. But anyway,
You can't get nothing for below $5.
You really can't think about it. You really buy for $5. You can't buy eggs. It's like bread almost $5.
It's Friday and it's 5 o'clock somewhere, folks.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It is.
You almost clear. My bad.
We on Friday Eve, but it's 5 o'clock and Friday somewhere.
Yes, it is.
So we got to go.
We got to laugh it up. You know what I mean? So again, just want to thank everyone for chiming in to Beyond Next. We try to provide different ways and thoughts specifically on how success can be simplified for everyone.
All
So
right.
tell a friend to tell a friend, jump in and join, send your questions. We're going to give you some more information, contact information, and some more guidance on how you guys could feed us what it is that you need. What can we get you to help you move the needle? Because that's what's important. Outcome and impact. Okay? Until our next episode in 30 days, we like to say peace out, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. The summer is coming. Stay cool.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
Later.